Hey folks, and welcome to the Pipnotic Symposium for the 20th of January 2020. Today we're going to have a look at some pairs and see what we can do here for the coming week. Let's start on the American dollar Swiss franc. As you can see, let me clear everything off. So everything is removed. There we are. So if we have a look at this, we are on the monthly chart. So what's happening on the monthly chart? If you have a look here, you can see that we have lower highs and lower lows, okay? And so price is poking into this area of demand just down here, and we've managed to move pretty far into it. So if we readjust this to the beginning of where the beginning of the buy zone is, we are currently just here, okay? This is what we have, and prior to this push down just to here, we were located just here, okay? But now that price has gone lower, this is where, actually, this is one that's currently in place, so this is where we will adjust it. So this is the current area of monthly demand that is currently holding price, okay? So considering the fact that monthly demand is currently being tested, I think selling would be a really bad idea, despite the fact that we do have lower lows and lower highs, because you have to be a little bit careful in a situation like this. So you take this information down with you to the smaller time frames and you continue to do your analysis. And if we have a look here, we can see here that we had this pretty significant low that was reacting to this weekly demand just here. There we are. And now price has moved beyond that, okay? So price poked into that area once, we poked into twice, and this is the third test of that area of nested monthly and weekly demand. So this is important stuff. So selling would be potentially dangerous for the reasons we've just iterated. So now price is slowly having a bit of a bounce. We had one test, rejection, another test, we have accumulation, we had a deeper test. So this to me looks like we're going to have some kind of currency strength divergence or histogram divergence on the slower time frames where we have price going down but the histogram is moving higher. I think we're probably going to see that on the daily chart. But if we focus on this for a second, we had a low, we had a high, we had a low, we had a lower high. So price is looking to continue moving lower eventually. Okay, we did not manage to move above this high from this area, from this low just here. We managed to cap it and have a downward sloping trend line. So we do have a technical trend that is moving low on the monthly and the weekly. But we did have market structure failure and it has failed. And the area of supply responsible for doing that on the weekly chart is this one just here. So this is a price sensitive area that we can expect price to have a bit of a bounce on in the future. Okay, so that's what we have on those time frames. If we zoom out a little bit, go to the daily chart, you can see here that we have a low, high, higher low, higher high. So price managed, so we had this area of demand. This is demand because we managed to move above this high here, and now this has gone in the area that removed that is something up here, and we're going to go with this one here. And the reason we'll do that, I'll just explain that before I leave it where it is. So if we have a look, we have higher lows and higher highs. This tells us we have demand here and we have demand here. If we didn't, we would not be able to move above these highs here. Okay, so this is pretty important stuff. But also notice here that we managed to move away from this high, which is lined up nicely with the edge of this trend line, and move below both this one and this one here. So this is telling us again that we have a pretty significant selling pressure from here, which is reacting. Support becomes resistance here. Okay, and so price is wriggling lower. So we're probably going to have, as I mentioned earlier, price is going lower, but the histogram is probably going higher. I'm not going to bring up histogram because I don't use histograms, but if you use histograms, this might be interesting to know. And so what I would like to see is I would like to see price move through this high to re-establish the trend higher, and then target the area of demand responsible for moving through this as an area at which to buy. We don't have that yet. Does that mean that we can't buy? No, it doesn't. It just means that we have a likelihood that price is going to continue lower, move up into this trend line, and then continue to move lower here. But due to the fact that we have nested monthly and weekly areas of demand, I think it's safe to say that we can start to accumulate some positions for a potential move higher. Okay, and we have this accumulation candle or distribution because we moved lower. We have another one, and this one here closed below the low of this candle, this candle. So these two here are connected, and this is the first one that moves away, and we have another one that moves away. So they're not connected. You know, I just bought a new pencil for drawing. I'm going to try that out. And so we have this is a candle that left, and so right here, this is where price retraced prior to the departure from this area of supply. Okay, so the area of demand will be marked off from there, the high, and it'll go something like that out into the future. Okay, so we can expect price maybe to have a bit of a bounce there before continuing lower. Is this going to happen? We have no idea, but this is what the price is telling us. Price action is telling us. Okay, so if we mark that off, with our tool, deepest retracement there, and then we have a look on the smaller time frame, which is probably going to be a 4-hour area. And here it is, very clearly. You can see price left. Let's see here, what's the low of this? This is 97.11.1. This is 97.11.8. Okay, so this did not move below this one. This one did here. So price went up, slingshot was pulled back, as we saw on the weekly chart, the daily chart, and then price left, which brings our attention to this, just here, this area of 4-hour supply, like that. Okay, so we have something there. So this could be an interesting area for us which to sell, but we are poking into monthly demand, which would make me not take this trade. Okay, but if you're shorter term, you could be down on the smaller time frames, and you could certainly have a look at this. But these trades will certainly, short trades from this area here, will eventually go sour. So don't be greedy. Take the profits when they're available to you. You can see here that we had a push lower. We had accumulation, price pop down. We had another push lower, and then we finally managed to move away. So if we go up to the daily chart just to have a bit of clarity, we had accumulation, price moved down, accumulated, we moved up, we closed above this candle, and then we're moving higher. And so I'd be pretty interested, looking to buy here. But also notice that this candle just here, the lower of this candle is here, and so I'd be keen on putting my entry somewhere around here. If we have a look on the 4-hour, what that looks like, yeah, you can see pretty clearly here that this is the price popped up, went sideways, we gapped down, we found some buys around here, and then price accelerated and moved north. So I'd be keen to look to buy from around this area just here. I'll just mark it off super precisely like that. Okay, and a bit of space for the stop, so the stop down here somewhere. And the reason I'm doing this is because we're reacting at monthly and weekly nested demand. Okay, so that's what we have there for the American dollar, Swiss franc. If you go to the American dollar, Canadian dollar, let's remove all of this stuff. Go to the monthly. What are we doing? We have pretty much the same thing going on. See, we have a low demand. This is demand. Let me get my drawing thingy out. This is demand because when price left here, we moved above here. So we went up, we came down, it's kind of zigzagging down. So this is a retracement. See how price is efficiently moving lower, then higher, refilling this. Price inefficiency down, up, down, up. Okay, and we had this area of demand which looks something. Let me clear this off. So price formed this area here. Oh, that was very ugly. Still getting used to this pencil here. And price had a poke, a deeper one, and a deeper one yet. Okay, so the beginning of the buy zone is where this one is here, because this is the one that is currently still active. So if we remove all of those and use our tool, we can mark it off like this. Okay, like so. And we could adjust it so that it fits the area right there. Okay, so this is the monthly area of demand that price is currently reacting on. It's been tested once, twice, 3 times. We have lower highs and lower lows, which tells me that price is probably going to have a pretty decent time moving through here. We've actually tested once, twice, three times. This is a fourth test, and each time deeper. Okay, so this is a pretty clear sign that price is probably going to continue to move lower. Do we know it's going to? We don't. But shorter term, we are reacting at significant areas of demand. Okay, we have a look on the weekly. We have this one here which stands out. We have this. We have this area of accumulation. Price gap down, went up, price went up, pulled back, and then we left. So we have this area which is slightly deeper. Price has not been back to now. This is the 129.16 area. So I'd be keen to wait for price to move lower. The reason I'm saying this is because on the monthly chart, we zoom in, we're kind of feeding into this area here, but this is price gap down. So price has to return to area value in order to attract buyers. And you can see that we have a kind of a clear pattern here on the weekly chart. Now we have this nice one here. This candle closed above this one. Okay, and so this one and this one are not related. They're two different ones. So we actually had a kind of a micro continuation pattern within these two candles here, which you can't see on this chart. This candle closed above. Okay, so the deepest retracement since the close of this candle is this one here. So this is where I think price is going to bounce. So we could buy here. Our stop would go below here, and our targets would be at opposing areas of supply, which would be somewhere around here, or ultimately here. But if we have a look on the daily chart, just to have another closer look at this area, you can see that we have an even deeper pattern. Price gap down, accumulation, accumulation, accumulation. This candle closed above the high of this one, so this area looks like this. Okay, so that's what we have there. So we have this weekly area. I'll line these up so they're the same spot. We have the weekly, so the monthly is here, the weekly is here, and the daily is here. So can you see that the smaller the time frame, the more accurate the area of supply or demand? Okay, so this is interesting to us, and this is the origin of this big move. It's a pretty big move. Our price came down and then left. There's a lot of buying from this point here, so we can expect that there'll be another considerable amount of buying when price returns to that area, because this is very clearly an area of value. Okay, that's what we have there. So for the time being, nothing to do. Even on the daily chart, we have no demand because nothing has been consumed. We had this little continuation pattern, but this is in the middle, so I wouldn't be too fussed about that. That's quickly removed, and so price should easily move lower before it continues to move higher. We also have this this downward sloping trend line, which more accurately looks like this, and this has technically been broken. The area responsible for that is this one here, just here. Oops, got to deselect it so it works. So just here, so the 129.76 area and lower will be interesting places, I think, at which we could see price to continue to wriggle higher. Go back to the weekly, have a look. Yeah, and ultimately, if this area doesn't hold, I think we'll certainly start to onboard some buying interest should price return back down to this area here, which I think it probably could, because we haven't even poked in. We poked into the high of this candle, so we have already started to react to these areas of resistance, become support. So we'll wait and see. I wouldn't be comfortable buying here. I'd wait for a lower price, but intraday, shorter term, you could certainly find some support for price and buy it and ride it up to an opposing area of micro supply there. Have a look at the American dollar, Japanese yen. Go to the monthly, clear the charts. What do we have here? We have clear lower highs and lower lows. Price is starting to challenge this trend line. Okay, so this is bullish for the American dollar, Japanese yen. If we identify some areas that we could consider as demand, we have current price and we look down and left. We had this one here, but it's not very clear. It's on this time frame, so I wouldn't be too interesting. So we're going to be all the way back to here, I think, before we manage to do anything. And on this one, we're looking at this because this is the area of the buy zone. Why do I say that? This candle is in the range of the previous. This is in the range of the previous. This one closed above this one. It went down to here and then left. price returned to that and then left, and so this is a very nice price to buy at 101.19. Okay, this is a very attractive price, but that's pretty far away from price. Go to the weekly chart, we can find some more areas that are clear. We have these highs, price came down, we moved kind of upward sloping channel, then we cut away. We're taking this one out here and this one. When price left here, we moved above this, so that qualifies this area of demand as demand. And this is the one that's currently holding. Price poked into it, then left. Okay, and now we are drifting higher from there. So now, to find opposing areas of supply, you've got to look up and left. We have this one here. This low was taken out by this. So if we zoom in and have another look at this here, you can see, let me use the tool here, that we have accumulation. The body of this is in the range of the previous. So is this one here. The candle that cut away is this one. It retraced to this level here, so the area of supply is here. Okay, it's not very clear, so let me draw that in using our rectangle. Go from the high to here. Okay, so this is the area of supply. Price is challenging that currently. Okay, so now we go to the daily. We also have upward sloping trend line on this time frame from here to here. We have one price left here. It formed a high, came back down, formed a low. We moved beyond that low. Sorry, beyond that high. Actually, we'll probably see it on this time frame. No. So we have this here. Okay, and now price is kind of doing something. We're having a bit of a tough time moving deeper. And so something's going on here. Okay, we don't know yet until we either see market structure fail, or we either pop above this high, or we start to move away and start consuming opposing areas of micro demand. Okay, so if we have a look on the daily chart, we have this area here. See this candle left, the high of this candle is there. That's where we put our entry, and price has not quite reached that yet. So I think when we get to this area, the 110.34, 35, I think we'll start to see price start to turn down shorter term. We do have some opposing areas on the smaller time frames. I can see we have this here. This is interesting to us because when price left here, we moved above all of these highs and we took out this high, which is the beginning of the sell zone. Okay, so this is interesting as well. So if you do sell here, you have to ask yourself, well, do we have a proper risk reward for this trade? So our entry would be here, and our target would be here, and so there has to be a decent risk reward, and you can see there is one on this particular trade. But you have to consider as well that we do now have this resistance become support scenario, and so our target might be here where these highs are. So that may be a little bit less attractive for our trade. So you have to be a little bit careful here. But for the time being, we're looking to sell. We have some positions short on this already, and expecting them to turn around within this weekly area and likely this nested area of daily supply before we continue to wriggle lower. Yeah, so that's the outlook on that. If we have a look at the, let me find some. Okay, let's look at the American dollar, Swiss franc. Sorry, Swedish krona. Sorry. Go here, go to the monthly chart. What's going on? Well, we have most recent highs here. It's removed. The area that did it is this one here. Pretty deep into it. Okay. And so note that we are reacting at monthly demand. That's a big deal. Okay, if we look here, you can see even more clearer how we have this here. We line this up properly. We're going to line this up at the beginning of the buy zone. The beginning of the buy zone, come on, is there. This is the pullback. This is where we came to. Our price turned around, now we're wriggling high, and we're also starting to see market structure fail on this downward sloping trend line. And we're having price reacting within this monthly and nested weekly area of demand, and now we're starting to move beyond this trend line here. So we have a look on the daily chart. We almost have an upward trend established. We have a low, high, low, higher high, higher low, but we don't have that higher high just yet. We're currently reacting at this, just here. Okay, Tested once, tested twice. Once this is gone and we move above this high, well, then we can start to target areas of demand and start to buy, okay? But we don't have that scenario set up just yet on the daily chart. On the 4-hour we probably do, but on the daily we don't. But we do have on the weekly market structure that's failing. On the daily we have market structure that has failed. Okay, the area that is responsible for that is down here. So let's have a look at this. Where do we put our entry and all that stuff? So you have this candle left the area. So this is not related to this too. Is this within range of the previous? Yes. Is this in range of the previous? No. So we have continuation pattern between these two candles on the smaller time frames. We have rally, accumulation, rally, probably on the 4-hour chart. Okay, then we have accumulation for 2 weeks, sorry, 2 days, and then price cuts above. So on this time frame, area that closed above, we have one here. Okay, and on the 4-hour, we're probably going to get something a little bit more clear. And yeah, it jumps out very clearly, and we have it just here on the 4-hour chart, right there. So we have the 3196. Okay, this is where we have that. But on the daily, I think it's better. This is very low, and price has already managed to move above here, so I don't think we're going to retrace all the way back down to here. Okay, but we do have these highs being removed. We have market structure that has now failed, and so now we need to start to look at an area at which we can buy. And for me, that area is going to be down here. I'm not going to be looking here. This is in the middle. I don't like that so much, but I'll certainly be looking at the extremes. Okay, so I think we have something that's interesting, potentially interesting here, for the reasons we discussed earlier. Okay, we do have these two areas here. This price closed above those. Price pulled back to the low of this candle. Across the spread around there. So we do have something there. Okay, and so that's what I think we're probably going to do. The 9.3515 area. It'd be an interesting area to start to onboard some long positions. Okay, so hopefully this area will be removed. And if price removes that area and then returns here, well then I think we have a better chance that this trade is going to work out for us. Okay, good. We'll have a look at one more pair. We're going to take the pound American dollar. Let's go default monthly. What's going on? My broker's got data for us. Goody. So we have market structure that has failed. Okay, when price left this area, we managed to move above here. So we have this one closed above the highs of these areas, so we're going to put our area of demand like so. Let's remove this like that. So that's the area of monthly demand. We also have an area of monthly demand here in the middle, around here, right there. Because when price left here, we managed to move above here. We didn't close it, we just moved above it. And so you can see pretty clearly what's going on here. We have this beautiful area here, accumulation, rally, slingshot was pulled back, and then poof. So this is a very nice area to buy at, the 121.95, so the 122 area. And we do have this area of demand, and this one's responsible for moving price above this this pretty important high. This is the highest high on this kind of little continuation pattern down. Okay, price tested it once. Now we're kind of making these rejection candles here, and so I think we're probably maybe going to challenge this this monthly area of demand a little bit greater. We do have this upward sloping trend line connecting these two lows, and so I think also that should price poke into this area here, we're probably going to have a bit of a reason for price to have a bounce for that reason, because market structure is still intact. Okay, should this area of demand be removed and this trend line be broken, well then we want to identify the area of supply that's responsible for that. So assuming I think we can see that this one closed out of the scope of those, so we're going to go from here to here. So that's our area of supply on the weekly chart. If we manage to move below here and remove this, well, this is our area to sell at, the 131.18. we go to the daily chart and have a look, this is what we have here. So I mean, this is kind of already this is the test that we saw on the weekly chart. Now price is kind of figuring out what it wants to do. We do have market structure that has failed, has it? No, it hasn't failed. We do still have market structure that's intact. This overlap, this spike kind of went through it. We found that area there, and then we're slowly moving, and we have this candle's closed within the range of this one closed clearly below it. So from here to here, when price left there, we went below here. So this is roughly where price, oops, oh come on, oh man, I'll just leave it. But this is roughly where we have price coming back to, not quite, and now we're kind of in no man's land, kind of figuring out what to do. This is not demand. Why? We did not do anything when we left. This is a reaction to demand. So here's the demand here. Okay, so this is the parent, this is the child. We do have a lot of related areas here. We have this reacted to this reacted to this reacted to something there. So this is all a bit of a mess. So there's nothing to do here. The only thing that is clear is we have this one here, right there. Accumulation. This candle closed above. The low of this candle is here at the 12600 area ish. So I just put on the 126 area ish like that. That's what we have there. And price is still pretty far away from that. Okay, so if price manages to come back down here, move through this. This is the first area of demand that we have. Okay, so we have value represented this area here, and after that, price comes down to this area here. Well, I'll be glad to start to buy this daily area of demand nested within this monthly area. You can see just here, and this is also the origin of the move that compromised market structure. Okay, so we have that just down here. The beginning of the buy zone is here. You can see price came back here, so price will come at least as low as this before it continues higher on the longer term moves. Okay, so that's what we have there for the time being, and I'm going to leave it at that, roughly about 30 minutes. If you like what you're seeing, please subscribe to the channel. If you have any questions, send us a comment, and if you want to receive notifications each time we publish a video, just hit the bell and you'll receive those as well. Okay, thanks for watching. See you in the next video.